And she goes, well, you don't even know that your mom killed herself. And this memory was so profound to me because as a child, my parents and everybody who were probably just trying to look out for me, they always told me that my mom had gotten sick and passed away. That was the story I was given by my aunts, uncles, father, like everybody just told me your mom got sick and then she passed away. And when I was probably about, like maybe 6, no more than 7 years old, my cousin, who I loved very much, we were very close. You'll find a million pictures of me and Megan all growing up, looks me in the face as a child and goes, you don't even know your mom killed herself. And I remember it was like snapping out of a movie. Imagine like your entire life you lived believing in one story, right? Like you had a clear story in your mind. Yeah, I don't have a mom, but she had gotten sick. And as a little kid, you rationalize that. You're like, people get sick, people can die. That happened to my mom. So she had told me, your mom killed herself. And I remember it was like a very world-shattering thing because I'm like, no, like you're a liar. Like, why would you say that? And I remember I went home to my dad and I was just so angry at Megan. Like, why in the world would she say that? And I went up to my dad and I was like, hey, Megan told me this. And then I remember my dad being like, that is what happened. And then he told me the truth. And like, it was just devastating, Chris. It was like it's one of the first things that I vividly remember being young because everything that I believed in was wrong, was not accurate. I was living in a false story and I wanted to protect that story. Like when Megan told me that, I just kind of wanted to write it off. Like I got really angry. I just wanted to get out of that. But then I found out from my father that no, that is what happened. So it shaped me very differently as a young kid. I started kind of questioning a lot of things and needing to be able to verify what I know to be true. Like I stopped just taking information or advice from people just because like maybe they're a teacher or maybe they're further ahead of me in this thing or they have a certain title in society or they're older. Like their words lost value to me. I would still listen to them, but unless I could verify it to be accurate, it didn't mean much. You know what I mean? And like especially news or things on television, like it just kind of lost its control because I was like, man, like I can't trust anything. So that was an extremely defining moment for me as a child. And I think it was also a really important thing that allowed me to later in life be someone that can navigate really like wishy-washy situations. And I don't know if it's a trauma response, but I'm extremely good at like removing all emotions from things that I have to make a very logical decision on. And a lot of it, in my opinion, relates back to that first memory.
Wow. I think it probably takes something that impactful to make that happen at such a young age, because I know as someone who's just turned 30, I'm just now experiencing things like marriage and death and parents and teachers that that are teaching kids and just now starting to have some of these things challenged. So to go through it at that young age and as someone who knows you, it explains so much of why you are the way you are and why you need what you need when it comes to so many things, man. And that's so powerful.
In a weird way, I think it's why I ended up loving like mathematics and I ended up loving logic and reason and things.
Because your shelter in some ways from that, I imagine, man.
They could provably be real to me. Like if I knew how to solve an algorithm or I knew how an equation works, I could stand on the side of like, I can prove to you that this is right, that this is real.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing for a child to be saying, but like, if I looked at it from a psychological standpoint, it was my like ability to prove that something was real or right. And I started to not really care at all about emotional things. I didn't really care about the way things felt. I didn't really care about the ways things appeared to be. All I started caring about, like, is this true? And this is a perfect lead in. This is going to tie into our story so amazingly because, like, even on the foundation of SFS, which I don't want to skip forward to, is like I wanted our colors to be black and white. I didn't want shades of gray. I wanted what works. I didn't care about fanciness. I cared about how do we create the most efficient, provably real. Like it kind of all ties together. And I don't even think I made that connection until just sitting here at this table. But let's continue.
Yeah. So I do have a question. And it sounds like in that circumstance, some people, you kind of threw yourself into the logic side of it, the truth side of it. But I'm not hearing so much that you maybe stopped trusting people. So did you lose some trust for people, or did you keep that, or how did that affect your relationship with people?
Shockingly, I still had the exact same love and like care for the people in my life, like Megan. Like even
Right.
after
I
that
feel
happened,
it, man. So that's incredible that you just didn't go that way with it. You just kind of threw yourself into the data of it,
because I think when I looked back at I loved her leading up to that and after, but it was like she wasn't lying to me about the world. If anything, my cousin Megan, although during a fit of emotion, told me the truth of the world.
Mm-hmm.
She almost did me a justice.
Yep.
I was growing up in an illusion. I was growing up in a false reality of the world.
Yeah.
My cousin Megan, although, like I said, during an anger fit, was like, boom, but she hit me with reality.
Yes.
And something about my brain, I love reality. I love things, knowing them the way they are. Like most people love the narrative that their mind creates. Like if I'm married, that means all these other things, and that it doesn't really mean anything. It means the quality of your relationship. It means if the person loves you that's with you, they're going to stay with you, and if they don't, they're going to leave you. It doesn't matter if they're married to you or not. I love reality in things, and I do not care about the way that things feel or the way that you think they should be. I care about the way that they are. And as a young kid, after that moment, I still had the same love and appreciation for the people in my life, but I had an extreme disdain or a dislike of anything that wasn't real, that wasn't true. I kind of went on a campaign of I'm going to find out any illusions that I'm living in, and I have to work to shatter those. And if I can shatter those, I'll be a healthier person.
Yes.
You know what? And maybe it's a protection thing. Maybe it's so my world can't get shattered again.
Right.
So I'm not this guy living and believing in a story that someone goes, guess what? See that bubble? Bop.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So and from that moment on in my life, I've been extremely drawn and driven to find the truth of everything.